Well, good evening, friends. Not only do I welcome you to the show, but I also welcome you to the month of November. This year is just about spent. We are in actually session five, hard to believe, which is crossing over the halfway mark. All things being equal, if we don't get a lot of questions or feedback, then in 3 weeks, this series will be done, but I'll leave it posted for your information so you can go back and review it. In fact, I recommend that you do go back and review each session as we're building momentum to move through it. So I'm going to move straight ahead tonight. We have really a jam-packed topic that's very important. I'm going to just cover a couple of protocols. Purpose of this course, let me say this. Our survival, our thriving, unlike at any other time before, because of all of the things that are going on around us, is going to depend on us being able to navigate as stewards over our lives and to be able to deal with the various obstacles that will come up, namely the seven nemesis. So the purpose of this course is to get you activated in mitigating, transforming, and making your life better by dealing with these issues straight up and head on. And so that's really the purpose. I don't want to, there's a lot of information floating around the web. I'm not trying to give you more information, really want to help you transform your life. And that's what is important. So it's very critical. What we're doing is not optional. I think it's going to be up to us to really make things happen. It's going to be important. Sessions are recorded. All sessions, 1 through 5. They are available on my YouTube channel. They're available on my Facebook wall and also on my author's page if you are a member of that group. So you can go back if you're late or you miss a session. They're going to be out there for a while. Okay. If you would respond by sending in your questions, now I'm going to monitor your questions before and after the recording. So I go back, look at the show's review, any feedback that comes in. I will deal with that on the air so that you have a good understanding of what we're talking about. Now, let me give you a caveat also. Now, if you send in a comment and I don't respond, I'm not ignoring you. I can't see everything. I am broadcasting on YouTube right now live. I'm broadcasting on my author's page and on my Facebook wall. I don't always see all of the replies, but I will get to you, okay? If I don't. Also, this is important, and maybe you can get this done right now. Tonight we do session 5. Session 5 is available on my website. Let me bring that up right now. There it is. Okay, there's my website, rogerckelleygroup.com. And you're going to go to, there's a page called the Seven Nemesis information page. If you click on that page, you will see in chronological order sessions 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All of them are there. You can print them. You can open it to your computer, download it to your phone, whatever you like to do. That's complimentary. And that, again, is so you will be able to follow me and not have to worry about where I'm headed, okay? That's also going to be important. The other thing I need to say in preliminary is this, is that this study is taken from the 8 Pillars of Lifetime Sanity, a booklet that I wrote. I'm going to say a little bit more about that later, that I believe will help guide you more in depth in some of the things we're going to talk about. There's no doubt some of the things you're going to wonder, man, I wish I knew a little bit more about that. We can't cover everything in 8 hours, okay? But the manual will really help you and give you a jump start. Topics, let me just tell you what we've covered so far. On the front end, I gave you a solutions key. And I told you that I will give you the principles of how we resolve these things. I would highly recommend that you go back and listen to the solutions key. Okay. We did it at session 1. Session 2, we covered fear. Session 3, we covered pride. Sessions 4, we covered craving. Tonight is session 5, and we're going to cover worry. And these are all very important topics and things that we just have to deal with. It's, folks, it's tough. I'm getting news about deaths, families being interrupted every single week. And we have to be able to move forward and deal with all of the various things that are going on in life right now. So it'll be important that you're with us. And so we're going to cover anger next week. You're not going to want to miss that one. We're also going to cover hatred, which is something that's ripping our nation apart. And also, then we're going to cover resentment, which is very akin to ingratitude. And again, all of these you're going to want to cover and go back and review them, because these are the things I've said this before, I say it again. It's not your external enemies that will take you down. The obstacles that show up on your path, the challenges, people may try to frame you, whatever goes on, that's not what's going to take you down. What will take you down will be those things that arise up in your life and use your mind, your emotions, and your body against you. Okay? Those are the things that are very, very critical. I'm going to give a summary statement and open tonight. I don't think I gave you one last week, but by the time that we finish tonight, you should have a very clear understanding of what we're of what this means. And again, if you haven't downloaded it, jump on the website, which is the address is there, and download the lesson now, and you can just follow. Here's my summary statement. Worry can become a permanent resident unless intentionally transformed. I'm going to read that again. Worry can become a permanent resident unless intentionally transformed. So let's get into the dictionary definition of worry. If you're looking at your notes, I probably did almost a whole paragraph. I'm not going to cover all of that, but let me just cover a couple of things here. Worry literally means, this is just from the regular dictionary, Cambridge, I believe. It means to give way to anxiety or unease. To give way to anxiety or unease. To allow one's mind to dwell on difficulty or troubles. Okay, that's what that first one says. That is a verb. That is an action typically that you'll take. Now, the next part of the definition is a noun in its usage, and the noun says it's a state of anxiety or uncertainty over actual or potential problems. Okay, so it kind of goes on to explain one's an action, another is a state. I'll say more about that. So, worry is this thing that, if it is present in your life, it's going to wear you down on kind of on an ongoing basis. So you'll want to deal with that. Let's get down to Roger's definition. You know me, but we'll get into this. Worry is a state of mental, emotional, and even psychological uneasiness to the point of impacting the nervous system and the body. See, when you worry a lot, and it can lead to some other things, you can begin to sweat, your heart rate changes, um, your breathing changes. Okay, so it's a very very serious thing. It is not a light matter. It's not something you want to take up residence in your life. So again, it is a state of mental, emotional, and even psychological uneasiness to the point of impacting the nervous system and the body. Now, listen to this next sentence carefully. The graduation from the verb, which is an act, you can say, well, he is worried about his job, okay, to the noun, which is a state, okay, that would say this person worries all the time. He lives in a state of worry. So the graduation from the verb to the noun in terms of the usage of the word, okay? It so what happens is you might be worried about a couple of things, but when you leave the verb, now you get over into a state where you worry about everything. You become in fact you worry about things that don't even warrant worry, but it gradually moves you into a state where worry fills your life. And so you worry about work, you worry about the traffic, you worry about your money, you worry about your future, you worry about your family, you worry about your past. Friends, that has a debilitating a debilitating effect on your whole life. And that's not something that you really want. Okay. And so if you're in a state of worry, tonight is for you. When you lay down at night, if your mind, you're worried about things, you wake up in the morning, you're worrying about things, that is not good. It's not good for your health. It's not good for anything at all. And so we're going to talk about that in detail and how we can really work to transform that so you can improve the quality of your life, which is what the course is about. It's not worth a quarter if all I do is give you information to ponder. Um, it, but I want to give you tools so that you can take them and use them tonight and impact your life. And so you then mitigate all of these things that we're talking about. So remember, when you go from the verb to the noun, friends, that's not good, because what it does is that it'll really take your life down. Now, I got a little formula that I've been using. Once I do my definition, then I get into the prognosis. If you go to the doctor, what the doctor will tell you is that, look, if we don't do anything, here's what's going to happen. Well, I'm giving you the prognosis of worry. Maybe some of you have been worrying already for years in your life. Well, it's time to curb that, because it's only going to get worse as more stuff comes. You can't worry your way out of anything. In fact, worry only makes it worse. Okay, so here's the prognosis. Okay, so in the prognosis, I normally talk about how worry arises and what kind of opens the door, or whatever the nemesis is. So So worry, first of all, the undercurrent reality that conflicts with our wishful thinking that things are stable. Think about this for a moment, and we are in control. Okay, this is one of the things that causes where worry gets its root. It is the undercurrent reality, it's the conflict in us. The difference between the reality that we're facing and our wishful thinking that things are stable and that we're in control. We tend to, friends, project certain things in life. And so what happens when our projections are inaccurate, then we become really discouraged and disappointed, and then we go into a state of worry. And so the undercurrent reality, and I'm going to just say more about that in a moment, but the undercurrent reality is that things are always changing. Okay, nothing is stable. We live in a world where everything is transforming. Think about that. Your body renews itself continually. Cells die, new cells are born, and of course it slows down over time, which is why we all age. But those changes come, it's a part of life. Everything is transforming on a continual basis, even in a table or a house, things that we consider solid. The atoms, if you could see at the molecular level, are moving slowly, but that's why even wood rots over time. Buildings become dilapidated and fall down. Why? Entropy takes place, but that is a form of continual transformation. And so we have a dream when we come here and we want to grow up and we want to make X number of dollars. We want to get married, have a happy family. Those things are good. But the reality is, contextually, the happy family is not going to last forever. People get sick, people die. One day you're going to die, and you don't really know when. And we're seeing a lot of that right now. The funeral homes are crazy busy because of the things that are going on. And so, uh, friends, we are not in control. You can do everything now. That doesn't mean we don't take responsibility for the things that we can. We must do that. So, I'm not advocating irresponsibility. What I'm saying tonight is there's some things that there's not anything you can do about. And it's all a part of life that's just unfolding. And that's very, very important. Okay. So, one of the things that causes conflict is what you have in your head about life and what the reality that we're facing is. It's a big conflict, and every time it doesn't work out the way you think, nobody plans on getting fired or getting laid off. Nobody plans on dying. Nobody plans on a child getting sick. Nobody plans on something catching on fire. Nobody plans on a storm coming and tearing everything down. These things do happen. And because we're not in control, we can't necessarily stop all of that. And so it's a wise woman or a wise man that begins to understand the things that they can control and the things that they can't. Okay, so it's the conflict. Moving down in your notes. And again, sometimes I modify the notes between when I post them and when I come to you. So if I read something that's not there, it's not you, it's me. But you can just make a quick note and add it. You should have 99% of what I'm going to talk about. Okay. Um, when these ideals clash, it creates shock and panic and worrying, and it becomes the order of the day. Okay. So when what you are expecting clashes with what happens, what you hoped and dreamed about crumbles right before your very eyes. What happens is then it creates panic and worry. What am I going to do? Oh my goodness. And we kind of go into this worry thing. And again, because everything is transforming perpetually, that's life. We're going to talk about that and what we need to do about that, but that is part of the problem. Friends, if you made a list of everything there is to worry about, you would have pages today. And my suspect is it's going to be added to as time goes by. I think things are going to get tougher before they get easier with all of the things that are going on. So what you got to do is you can't change all of the things going on in the world. You got to be able to change what's going on in your life. And so that again, that's why we are having the course. Okay. If you have questions or comments, please let me know. I meant to put back up what we're discussing tonight on the banner. All right. So now let me walk you through something that's in the book, in the 8 Pillars of Lifetime Sanity, chapter 2. You're certainly going to want to read that chapter. It's not a long one, but it is packed with some information that'll really help you get grounded in the things that we're talking about. So, what happens is when worry sets in because of what you can't control, honestly, when you wake up tomorrow, you may say, I'm going to go to work. I'm going to do this. I'm going to stop by the store on the way home. We're going to go to dinner. Then I'm going to watch my favorite show. Then we're going to go to bed. But honestly, you have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. It is not guaranteed when the sun goes down that you're still going to be here or your family's going to be here. We don't know. That's part of the challenge from day to day. Uh, um, we just we just we don't know from day to day really what's going to happen. Okay. And so we begin to worry, and once you start, there's just so much to worry about. How do we do that? How do we fare for the fact that we don't know from day to day what's going to happen? We don't know if we're going to make it home for sure. You follow me? And so what happens is, so when we worry and worry and worry, we move from the verb to the noun, okay? And then worry gives way to stress. Stress, as I identify in the book in chapter 2, um, is when worry becomes rooted in our minds, our nervous systems, and our bodies. Okay. Then it begins to turn into stress. Because remember, if you worry and you come out of it, that's one thing. When worry hangs around, now in your mind, your mental patterns and the mental formations in your mind, your brain actually begins to adapt to that of one who worries. The patterns in your brain adjust to your thinking and creates even more thoughts. Then it affects your nervous system. Worrying can take your blood pressure straight up. Okay? Worry can keep you from sleeping at night. Worrying can affect your digestive system. And there's just so much, okay, and your bodies. So worry gives way to stress. And again, in the 8 Pillars of Lifetime Sanity, then stress produces anxiety. And these are not mutually exclusive, and they can come on at the same time, and that kind of thing. I'm just defining them so you understand what's happening in your life if you don't manage and deal with this. Stress produces anxiety. When you come to a place of anxiety, stress is sealed, made permanent, and amplified. Okay, so once anxiety begins to take place, it becomes almost impossible to turn a corner because you are just so engaged, and now it's actually driving your life. It's not just something now that's there, it begins to take the driver's seat. And so worry then takes on a life of its own. So worry goes to stress, stress goes to anxiety. Anxiety is the portal for neurosis. Okay? And so by that, let me just say it this way, when you begin to touch neurosis, your mind now begins to create problems out of thin air. Your mind begins to create problems out of thin air. In other words, you worry about things that don't even exist. Okay? Or you come up with a what if, or maybe this, or you start thinking that even what's going right is going wrong, or what people say, you misconstrue it because you are a worrier. So and so you begin to take your mind starts creating problems. We got enough problems, friends. I mean, there's a lot of things to be concerned about. Once you touch neurosis, your mind starts adding additional problems, and it really makes life tough. Now, to add insult to injury, the nemesis that we talked about, we've covered fear, pride, craving, and tonight worry. These nemesis begin to merge. Okay, they begin to now, for example, your fear and worry team up, and now together, maybe anger gets involved in it, and now you've got a whole different thing going on, and they make your life overwhelming every single day. Okay, the nemesis begin to merge and make your life overwhelming. So you're fearful, and now you're worrying about what you're afraid about, and so you're more afraid because you're worrying, and you're worrying more because you're afraid, and now you're in a situation where you make your own life um almost unbearable. And there are people that have reached this state. This is why there are counselors and clinical folks and pastors and friends who can sit down and try to help you sort through things. But I want to help you, um, keep you from getting in trouble to begin with. Okay, and so these things merge and begin to be a major problem for you. Okay. So, having said that, these are the things that give way to worry, the conflict, and so forth and so on. Now, let's talk about the answers. What are we supposed to really do about this? What can we do about our worries? And what if I can't control things? What am I supposed to do? I'm glad you asked, because I'm going to tell you exactly tonight, and what I'm going to give you works. Okay. Um, First of all, and we covered this on the first session, which I highly recommend that you go back and listen to. We talked about present moment awareness. Okay, and that is entering into a place where you simply begin to follow your breath, and you relax and you follow the rhythm of your breathing. And what that does is that settles you down. It settles down your thoughts. It settles down your feelings and your emotions and all of those things. And so it brings a calm and brings you to a place of peace. So in present moment awareness, in the book chapter 2, there's an exercise there that'll walk you through exactly what you need to do and how you can really begin to be present. I'm not talking about something deep or something off the charts. I'm just talking about basically paying attention to what you've been ignoring most of your life, and that is your breathing. It comes about when you just follow your breath. So, in present moment awareness, as I have in your notes, it'll help you solve the philosophical conflict. Okay, it'll help you solve that because the fact that you're not in control, but you think you are, at some point, you got to come to terms with the fact that you're not in control, and what you are supposed to do about it. So I'm telling you, if you forget everything else I've said during these sessions, get in a quiet place and sit down or lay down or go for a walk through the park. Be quiet, pay attention to your in breath, cool air coming in, and you're releasing your out breath. Walk and do that in rhythm, okay? And get to enjoy that process. And what happens is that clears things out so you become aware of what's been out there all the time, the present moment. And what that does is that'll help you begin to see things as they are. Okay, now in the present moment, you have the ability to practice something that I call allowance. It is the practice of allowance. And I just have in parentheses in your notes, you allow life to unfold by leaving it alone. And the practice of allowance causes everything to settle down. Now, I'm not talking about settling. I'm not talking about apathy. I'm not talking about not caring. I'm not talking about being irresponsible. What I'm saying is this: the things that you cannot control, you have to allow them to be. Listen, if you're in New York and it's in January, you cannot go outside and scream and holler and stomp and say, I'm sick of the cold weather. I'm tired of the snow. I'm just sick of all of this stuff. I just wish it would go away and beat on the ground and scream and yell. What good is that going to do? None. You have to accept, if you're in New York, you have to accept the snow. Now, once you do that, you just get your coat and your gloves and your hat, and you dress appropriately and accordingly, and you deal with that. But it is allowance. The energy that you spend fighting in yourself, hating the situation that you're in right now that you can't do anything about. If business went south and your company shut down and you lost your job, being angry and hostile about that is not going to help one bit. You have to allow that to be. How many things are we holding on to, fighting internal wars right now, that we should just let go? You have to allow. But see, you learn to do that in the present moment. You can't do that if you're having 100 thoughts about how you're going to lose everything because your job is gone. You really can't do it. It's in the present moment when things settle down that you can allow things to be, and you can stop fretting, and you can actually stop the worrying. Okay? So the practice of allowance allows your mind to settle down. I'm sure many of you tonight have some things going on and you wish you could change. And you've been pondering that and thinking about that, but you can't. Here's where you have to practice allowance and let it be. Okay? That's very, very important. You have to be willing to let go. Moving on down a little bit further. So present moment awareness opens the door for us to practice allowance. Next, you now have the tools to transform the emotions and mindset from worry into peace by making room for peace to arise. See, your mind takes a thought and multiply it. If you say this is going to be an awful day today, your mind find ways to help you point out how awful things can be. When you're worried about things, oh man, I'm going to go under, I'm not going to make it, then your mind starts to, listen, you have a part of your brain called the reticular cortex. It houses the reticular activation system. What that does is that does associations. It associates things together for your mind to recognize. Years ago, when I first got my first truck, um, I had never owned a truck before, but then when I went out on the road, I started seeing trucks like mine. I mean, it was just amazing. I saw Dodge Rams all over the place. What was happening? My reticular activation system was pointing trucks out. If you're driving and you're hungry and you're on a road trip, what do you start seeing? You start seeing restaurants. Okay, and once you're full, you don't see them anymore. Because it's an association. And so what I'm saying is this: when you begin to worry, you see more things to worry about. As you settle down and as you practice allowance, okay, you breathe in, okay, and you know your breath, you breathe out and you let go. You breathe in and you breathe out, you let go. When you practice allowance, again, things settle down. So the peace that we all talk about as a concept that a lot of us rarely have, we can actually step into it because it's there beneath all the stuff going on. And when that abates, there it is. There's a peaceful place. You move from silence to stillness. And when things become still, it becomes very, very powerful. Okay? So you don't have the tools to transform the emotions and mindset from worry to peace by making room for peace to arise. Very simple, friends. Um, the more you try not to worry, you're probably going to worry even more. So it's not something you just exert yourself on. You get in a place and you begin to um, breathe and relax, and then what happens there is how you really win that. And that's true with really all of the nemesis. It's very interesting. Your heart, your mind, your emotions, and your body needs a break. And many of us go years and we go to church, but then we take all the stuff from church and throw it right in the mix with everything else. Listen, if you go to a restaurant and you're drinking a cup of cold iced tea and your cup is full, and the waitress or the waiter comes around with the pitcher and they see your cup is full, what are they going to do? They're going to keep going. When they see there's room in your cup, Then they're going to add more stuff. Your proverbial cup can only stand so much. Adding information is not go it's only going to make it worse and frustrate you. You've got to come to a place where things settle down and you can step into a place of peace. Okay, so present moment awareness, you can read about it in chapter 2 of the book. You can also go back to lesson 1 where I took time with it. Okay. Next, the seeds of patience will begin to germinate as you relax and enjoy life more. So, what happens when you start practicing allowance, things start to settle down. And instead of your reticular activation system pointing out things for you to worry about, it'll begin to show you things that you can be thankful for. I could say, hey, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. But guess what? I've been on the earth almost 64 years. And so, because I've been cared for and taken care of all these years, I'm not going to fear tomorrow. I'm going to face it, though there'll be uncertainty, but I'm going to leave the worry out. Okay? Because I'm settling in. And so, once you begin to um, relax and breathe and practice allowance, now patience start arising. Actually, patience kind of is an opposite of worry. Patience just begin to arise. There's no need to be uptight. You've come this far. Okay, so why give up or why stress over it now? There's a good chance you can make it. Okay. And so seeds of patience will begin to germinate. And as you relax and just enjoy life more. When you're worrying, you worry when you're working, you worry when you're eating, you worry when you're trying to sleep, you worry when you're on vacation, you worry at the conference, you worry at church, you just worry, worry, worry. Look, when you bring that down, now patience starts to arise, and the garden of your soul starts bearing other kinds of fruit. Okay? Very, very important. Now, when this happens, again, present moment awareness, practicing allowance, um, transforming emotions from worry to peace, seeds of patience starting to germinate. Now, my friend, listen, you'll begin to develop clarity on what you need to do to make your life more intentional. Okay? So, what I have is clarity on what you need to do to make your life more intentional. Now opens up and you can focus on achievement. Guess what? Even though you can't control everything, you're still responsible for your life. And so, if worrying isn't clouding your mind and turning your dreams into nightmares, then what you can do is you can be more intentional about the actions you can take. See, when I talk about allowance, I don't mean that you become passive or lethargic or you step into a place of inertia. Not talking about that. What I'm saying is, in allowance, you settle down so you have insight on what to do about things. When you worry, you panic. When you panic, you make bad decisions. It all kind of goes hand in hand. So now, with the clarity that comes, you can be more intentional. You can focus on achievement. And now you know what to do, maybe to mitigate some of the risk. Okay. Um, yes, you could die on any given day, but if you take care of yourself, if you cooperate with your physician, if you do things that will exercise, walk, if you are more careful about what you put in your body. That can help you move along with your life in the things that you need to get done. And so as clarity opens up, you can focus more on achievement, which is really, really important. These nemesis that we talk about literally keep you stuck, make it where you can't move forward, bind you up, and really rob you of the quality of your life. And while we're busy blaming everybody else for what's going on in the world and somebody ought to do something, we neglect the most precious thing that we have, and that is our lives. And the responsibility for that, you're responsible, I'm responsible, we each for our own lives. And that becomes very, very important. Okay. And so what I'm giving you is really the formula. I'm literally, if you tonight, you take 5 minutes and sit and practice your breathing, you begin the process of transforming worry. You don't combat it in terms of coming against worry and that kind of thing. But as you breathe and relax, those seeds go back into dormancy. Patience begin to arise. And the next thing you know, your life begins to transform in a number of ways. Now, the last thing I'm going to say here in the answers that we have is make staying present. And staying present, the door to that is you following your breath, make it your lifestyle and not just an activity. When you sit to learn to and practice your breathing, it's an activity that you're doing. But the more you practice that and your mind clears, you'll be able to breathe while you're driving. Okay. If you do that, well, you breathe anyway. You can be mindful of your breathing. Don't stop breathing, but you can be mindful while you're driving, and keep your eyes open. Don't close your eyes to relax that way while you're driving. Keep them open. Watch the road. Obey the traffic rules and all of those things. Though a few others may. And but that can become a part. You can find yourself even aware of your breath while you work. It can make you more productive because you become undistracted. You're able to focus as you are walking, as you're cooking, as you're doing other things. What happens? It becomes a part of your life, and what you find is the activity of your brain where unhealthy and unconstructive thoughts fly off the charts. They begin to settle down and you become a more peaceful person. And you know what? Um, Peace is a launching pad for creativity. As you become more peaceful, ideas and thoughts can begin to come that'll help you get some things done regarding your life and really make a difference. So you want to make staying present your lifestyle and not just an activity. And so I want you to begin to practice and work on this um, even tonight, every chance you get. And what I will probably do is do some sessions just on being in the present moment in the future. And for those in the Orlando area, we probably will meet and be and concentrate and focus together and have discussions about that and support each other as we endeavor to walk peacefully and make a difference in the midst of everything that is going on. Okay. Now, um, information is taken from my new manual, The Eight Pillars of Lifetime Sanity, which is available for download right now. Let me put information on that. And then what I'm going to do is we're just going to take a quick break before we wrap up. It's actually 8:49 now by my clock. But normally I always show you the cover of the manual. One of the things I wanted to show you tonight is this manual is filled with charts, and you're looking at a page that walks you through the processing of a thought. And so what you have is a diagram that talks about experience, thinking, emotions, actions, lifestyle that create other experiences, and you've got narrative underneath it that goes through. Is filled with those kinds of things so that you can see and understand what you're dealing with. And all of this is designed to undergird you, because guess what? We have um, thousands of thoughts every single day. And so, if you understand how a thought is processed, so this is just an example of one page of out of many in this manual. What you're going to want to do is go and get that as soon as you can. You can download it securely on the store page. Now, there's two manuals out there. One is on the 8 pillars of lifetime relationships, and that's not the one I'm discussing tonight. That's a good one. The other is the 8 pillars of lifetime sanity. Coming is the 8 pillars of lifetime leadership, 8 pillars of lifetime wealth. Um, so there'll be 3 or 4 other manuals on the way. All of this is designed to undergird you and support you as you are moving forward. Okay. And so I don't see any questions. I'm going to come back to full screen. I don't have any questions yet. If you put them in, I promise you I will deal with them. If you put a comment in that I cannot see, I will come back and deal with that. Friends, remember what I said about the present moment. That's going to be very, very important. Work on that. Try to daily look. Don't reinvent the wheel in your prayer time, devotion time that many of you already do. Take the first 5 minutes and just breathe and settle in. Watch how that enriches everything else that you do. Next week, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about anger. It's going to be very, very important. And we got 3 more sessions, and this wraps up the week of Thanksgiving. Listen, I appreciate you tuning in. If I can help and support you in any way, please let me know. I'm going to leave the broadcast up. You can watch it on the author page, on my Facebook wall, or on my YouTube channel, which let me put that up real quick for you. That's my YouTube channel. There's several videos out there. I've got them classified and categorized. So, anyway, you have a great night. I appreciate your time, and I will see you on next week. Have a good night.